But Money Monday is a time we talk about your money, and we bring you the money guests. And joining me today, like he does every Monday, is Fernando Uribe. Fernando is the host of Real Talk via Eyes on NJ. He's right next door in the Garden State. Fernando, how are you, brother?
What's going on, John? It's good to be back in leadoff again on Liquid Lunch.
I love it when you're in the leadoff spot. So Trump is now alleging, or at least threatening, that he's going to take some action against all these Chinese software firms. We had Chris Carter on our show about 6 months ago. He's a data specialist, and he said that the military had already banned TikTok, and it was only a matter of time. So is this going to go deeper, or is this a one-hit wonder?
Well, John, I think it's a great job by not only the president, but really by Mike Pompeo, the Secretary of State, to really take initiative on this, because as we all know that the data of private users right now is in jeopardy, and with apps such as TikTok and others. I know WeChat is another Chinese developed app, and without question, I think it makes us very vulnerable. And I really found it hysterical, John, via social media. So many on the left were denouncing this as, oh, there's the president being punitive, there's the president being tyrannical. But weren't they bitching and moaning for 4 years that for whatever reason they feel that we're vulnerable or susceptible to foreign interference, whether it's in our elections or when it comes to cybersecurity or anything else? So the president decides to take action, and now they're up in arms. It's like the left can never be happy with anything, and they have to denounce everything that this president is trying to do. But first and foremost, again, it's a great job by the president, and really by what we're trying to do with enhancing our cybersecurity here in the country.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I mean, they basically can take control of every iPhone that has TikTok on it, and I wouldn't put anything past this Chinese communist regime lately, what's happening there. Let me ask you this. The new stimulus bill is getting knocked around right here. It's going back and forth with the gridlock down in Washington. But the extra $600 is ended. And I think that's going to motivate some people to get back to work. A lot of people thought they were going to have the rest of the summer off. But I think that's going to help the job numbers. What do you think?
Absolutely. Listen, John, I was talking to a few friends of mine that were recently laid off during the pandemic, and they felt that certainly this time off was beneficial for them to recharge their batteries. But they knew that this supplement was not going to be permanent. They knew at some point it was going to expire. It did. And if you just simply go on websites like Indeed.com, John, what this economy has become now more so is a lot of remote work is now available. So the idea that Americans can't go back to work or be able to locate jobs in some capacity, I think is, again, not factual by the mainstream media. We're seeing that, again, Congress is at an impasse right now when it comes to the next stimulus. We're already in August. We're not sure exactly if it's going to occur this month or perhaps after Labor Day. But in the meantime, I think it's imperative, as you said, for Americans to be proactive, not just depend on this when it comes to the extra supplement, but to be proactive and to start looking for work again. The fact of being this dependent on government assistance like this, I think is not healthy. I think it sort of takes away from the work ethic that really exemplifies Americans, John. And quite frankly, it's alarming that many people are sort of, upset with the federal government. Again, this was just a temporary fix. It was not meant to be a permanent long-term solution.
Yeah, there's no question about that. And I have, a whole bunch of firsthand evidence of friends of mine who own contracting businesses, construction business, and they're telling me, they're calling their guys, hey, come back to work. We can do some work here. We got this going, that going. And the workers are like, nah, call me in September. So I guess maybe a lot of people will be reconsidering that. I do think they're going to come, it does kind of make itself into a, an election issue, because Trump obviously doesn't want to be the guy that pulls the $600 away from everyone. So I think there's going to be some happy medium that they get, $200 or $300, and it might put it right on the borderline of, hey, I better get back to work because I almost lost it once,
John, no, you're right about that. And right now, again, it's just really about knowing the facts. And more Americans are realizing that the impasse is really because of Congress. I think both parties are really divided about what that extra supplement should be. Sources that I talk to tell me it could be probably as high as $200, but it certainly won't drop lower than that. But it will not be to what it once was at the $600 mark. So as you said, I think it's imperative for Americans to really take a look in the mirror and figure out what they're going to be doing. It's already, again, August. This pandemic has been a fixture in our lives for 6 months now. And it's really up to Americans to decide, hey, listen, there's a lot of things that are still in influx. The school year coming up in September is still unpredictable. We know a lot of other industries have not recovered. But, John, again, remote work is available. And that's one of the things that COVID has created, a remote work economy. And many Americans are indeed taking advantage of it. They're not just wanting to sit at home waiting for a check. They're going to be proactive. And I think you're seeing that with the amount of job applications people are filing online on a daily basis.
So, Fernando, in the open, I was talking about how the silent majority is speaking in many different ways, but I know you're a big sports fan. I know you can't wait for your Cowboys to get back on the field and all that good stuff. But in the meantime, the NBA and MLB both came out to big pomp and circumstance ceremonies, honoring Black Lives Matter and black shirts and everything else. Everybody took a knee, both the NBA and the MLB. Everybody took a knee. And there's a stat out there that the viewership dropped 50% from the opening night until the second night's games. And they should have been just pretty much just as good games. But it sounds like people got it tuned out.
Well, John, listen, this shouldn't surprise anybody. I think we saw what happened in 2016 after Colin Kaepernick dominated the news cycle with his act of what he calls civil disobedience. We saw that many NFL fans stayed away from games. Now, coming up in September, as we all know, the NFL will not have fans in the stadium. So certainly that is something that works against the NFL for their revenue stream. But when it comes to Major League Baseball and the National Basketball Association this past week, yes, we were happy to see, I was happy to see the Yankees back. I was happy to see my Lakers playing again. But overall, I think people are just turned off by how politicized sports has become. And again, I'm not trying to be derogatory here and just say, shut up and dribble or shut up and hit the baseball. But quite frankly, John, people just want to watch their sports. Because of COVID, a lot of normalcy has, really eroded in everyday societies.
No
so
doubt.
We can get sports back. We just want to see sports in its regular form.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even get, not to mention the fact I'm a Met fan, but I can't get into it because it's like you don't know what's happening. Is there going to be a game tonight? The game's canceled. You're playing somebody else tomorrow. It's like a hodgepodge. It's like, the owners are just trying to get at least their TV money out of this deal. I don't even know if it's a real season. It just doesn't, as far as baseball is concerned, I don't feel like it's a real season, but it's strange. I don't know how the NFL is going to do it. Let's hope,
I mean, John, listen, this past weekend, it was Yankees, Red Sox, and on any other regular year, that's a hot ticket in baseball. And the stadium is packed to capacity. And it felt really off this weekend watching games. And listen, I'm happy we swept the Red Sox, but it did not feel like the same. It doesn't feel like when you're watching the NBA. I mean, listen, they can insert sound and put some other technology things in there all they want, but it's not the same feel to the games themselves. And I'm thinking that if they can just focus on the sport itself, that would be great. But if you start politicizing it with these, social and racial justice type of tones, people get turned off. Not because we're racist, John, not because it's because there's a time and place for everything. And sports is just an escape for us to forget about the everyday chaos that embodies society right now.
When these, it's a proven fact that the founders of the hashtag Black Lives Matter and the Black Lives Matter movement, it's a proven fact, they're on the record as saying they are Marxists. So do the NBA and the MLB, are they trying to tell us they support Marxists? Is that what they're saying in our final minute?
Listen, I would argue to a certain degree, yes. And people that have not done their homework on Black Lives Matter, the movement, really need to be up to speed on this because, again, you can care about issues that affect the Black community. I care about Black lives, John, but I will not acquiesce or subscribe to anything that BLM, the movement, believes in. You look at their website. They believe in the breakdown of the nuclear family. They believe in just destroying the patriarchy. They believe in destroying capitalism. I understand people want to go about today and say, well, that's not what they meant. 7 years ago, that's what the founders of the movement believed in. That's not what they believe in now. At the end of the day, it's the hierarchy. That's what they believe in. And it trickles down, John, with all the chaos. And look at all like the anarchy and some of the communist propaganda being, sort of conveyed in all these cities during marches and protests. It's as clear as day, John.
Absolutely. That's the way I see it, too. All right, Fernando, we got to leave it there. Thank you very much, brother. Everybody out there, tune into Real Talk on Eyes on NJ with Fernando Uribe. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Thank you, John.
We take a quick break. We'll come back right after this with some news of the day.